The idea of a dystopia often feels like something from a book or a movie, a far-off nightmare of total control and lost freedom. It's easy to look at those stark stories and feel safe, believing such a thing could never happen here. But what if the dystopia isn't one of obvious chains and marching soldiers? What if it arrives quietly, dressed in the familiar clothes of everyday life, where the control isn't over what you can say, but over what you can afford? And the fear isn't of a secret police, but of a pink slip or a medical bill. There is a growing feeling, backed by hard truths, that America has embarked on a path toward a subtle but profound kind of oppression, a corporate dystopia. This is not a world run by a single villainous company, but a system whose gears have been quietly recalibrated. The core purpose has shifted, from a society meant to support the well-being of its people to an economy engineered to maximize the wealth of a privileged few. In this system, the basic requirements for a dignified life, a home, healthcare, education, a secure retirement, are not foundations we build together. They have been transformed into luxury goods, priced out of reach, and used to bind people into a cycle of endless work and debt. The promise of America, the idea that hard work guarantees stability and opportunity, now rings hollow for millions who work harder than ever and find themselves running in place, or worse, falling behind. To understand this, we must look at the reality of life for most people, the powerful forces shaping that reality, and the way hope is often skillfully diverted into blame. The most direct experience of this dystopia is economic. It is the daily stress of an equation that no longer balances. For generations, the story was that increased productivity, working smarter, creating more value, would lead to shared prosperity. But that link has been broken. While the value workers produce has soared, their wages have remained stagnant for decades. The fruits of that labor have been funneled almost exclusively to the top, to executives and shareholders. The result is a shocking fact that defies the American narrative. Nearly half of all people working full-time jobs in this country do not earn enough to cover a basic, no-frills life. They are one broken-down car or one unexpected bill away from crisis. This isn't a temporary setback. It's the new structure of the economy. Work no longer guarantees security. This pressure is intensified by the deliberate transformation of human needs into profit centers. Consider a home, the fundamental need for shelter. It has become a financial asset class, hunted by large investment firms that buy houses by the thousands, driving up prices and rents, turning a basic right into a speculative game. Healthcare, a matter of life and death, is a labyrinthine industry where insurers, hospital networks, and pharmaceutical companies profit at every turn, leaving patients with incomprehensible bills and the terror that illness will also mean financial ruin. The path to a better job, a college degree, now requires taking on a mountain of debt before a career even begins, saddling a generation with a financial anchor that delays families, homeownership, and peace of mind. And when wages don't cover these inflated costs, the system offers a cruel solution: debt. This is the modern cage. Student debt, medical debt, credit card debt. These are not just bills, they are mechanisms of control. They create a population that is financially fragile, unable to take risks, to change careers, to speak up at work, or to demand better. The constant anxiety of owing money ensures compliance and keeps people on a hamster wheel, running just to service the interest on the life they are already living. This economic reality does not exist in a vacuum. It is protected and enforced by a political system that has been fundamentally captured. In a functioning democracy, when the economy fails the majority, the people would use their votes to change the rules. But that connection has been severed. The reason is simple. Money has become the loudest voice in the room. Running for major office requires astronomical sums, which politicians must raise from wealthy donors, corporate political action committees, and special interests. Time and influence flow to those who fund campaigns. So when legislation that would raise wages, regulate predatory lending, or lower drug prices is proposed, it meets a wall of well-funded opposition. The priorities of big donors consistently trump the needs of ordinary citizens. This corruption is made seamless by a revolving door between government and industry. The regulators tasked with overseeing Wall Street, big tech, or the oil industry are often plucked from the very companies they are supposed to police. After their stint in public service, they return to the private sector with a significant raise. This ensures that regulation is weak and enforcement is gentle, as the watchdogs are, in truth, friends of the industry they monitor. Perhaps the most bizarre twist is the legal fiction of corporate personhood. Through a series of court decisions, corporations, legal entities designed solely to generate profit, have been granted rights intended for living, breathing human beings, like the right to free speech. This was the logic behind decisions like Citizens United, which opened the floodgates for unlimited corporate spending on elections, equating money with speech. The outcome is a democracy where an artificial, profit-driven entity has a political megaphone thousands of times more powerful than that of any real citizen, allowing it to shape laws in its own favor. What makes this system so resilient is its brilliant disguise. It operates under the banner of freedom while stripping away genuine agency. It sells the illusion of choice to mask the reality of control. The most powerful tool in this disguise is the persistent myth of meritocracy, the idea that success is solely a matter of individual effort and grit. This story turns systemic failure into personal failure. If you are struggling, the culture whispers that it is your fault. You didn't work hard enough, you made poor choices, you lacked character. This narrative is a masterful trick. It redirects natural anger and frustration inward into shame and self-doubt, or sideways onto other struggling groups, instead of upward toward the powerful interests designing the rules.